It had started like any other day, far beneath the dead surface of Earth, in the underground city of New Avalon. The people lived their quiet lives. For generations they had stayed hidden, waiting. They had built homes, schools, and cities below ground, all to keep Earth safe and out of sight. Captain Rhea Solis stood on the upper platform of Central Command, watching her crew at work. The room was large, filled with control panels and glowing screens. It looked peaceful, but in Rhea's heart something felt wrong. She had trained since she was young to lead Earth's defense. Every lesson, every mission, had prepared her for this moment. She had always believed it would come. Still, part of her had hoped she was wrong. A soft alarm broke the stillness. Captain called Officer Malik from the tracking station. "You need to see this." Rhea walked quickly to his side. On the screen, dozens, no, hundreds of ships appeared. They were moving through deep space, heading straight for Earth. She didn't need to ask who they were. The symbol on their ships was clear. It belonged to the Galactic Council, the rulers of the galaxy. Rhea took a deep breath. "How long do we have?" she asked. Malik's voice was low. "About 1 week, maybe less." Rhea nodded. She looked around the command center. Her crew waited, watching her, waiting for what she would say next. She pressed the command line. "Call the High Command. Emergency meeting. Now." Less than an hour later, Earth's top leaders gathered in the war room. Rhea stood at the front, facing them. "The Council fleet is coming," she said. "Full force. They've found us." The room filled with quiet talk and worried faces. General Harrow, head of Earth's ground defenses, leaned forward. "We've stayed hidden for centuries." "Why now?" "No idea," Rhea answered. "But they're not here to talk. They're here to take control." Dr. Myra Lane stood. "We've prepared for this. We built the fleet. We have the weapons. But they outnumber us." Some leaders nodded in fear. Others stayed silent. General Harrow spoke again. "We could surrender. It might save lives." Rhea shook her head. "Surrender means chains. We give up now. We give up forever." Elias Vance, Rhea's closest ally, stood beside her. "We fight." Rhea looked around the room. "No more hiding. We meet them in space." After a long silence, the room agreed. That night, alone in the observation chamber, Rhea stood looking at the live feed of the stars above. Somewhere out there, the Council fleet was moving closer. Her heart felt heavy, but her mind was clear. A soft chime echoed through the room. A message had arrived. Rhea opened it. A tall, alien figure appeared on the screen. He wore long robes with the mark of the Council on his chest. His face was pale, and his eyes showed no kindness. "I am Chancellor Zorok, of the Galactic Council," he spoke with cold pride. "You will surrender. Your planet is now under our control. Submit or face destruction." The screen turned black. Rhea stared at the empty screen for a long time. She did not reply. Not yet. Far above, the Council ships moved closer, ready to take Earth. The next day started with silence. The underground cities carried on as usual. People worked, children studied, and families gathered in their homes. None of them knew that far above, death was coming toward them through space. Captain Rhea Solis, however, knew it well. She walked through the long steel halls of Earth's Orbital Defense Command, deep under the ground. She reached a heavy door guarded by 2 soldiers. One of them stepped aside and pressed his hand on the scanner. The door slid open with a hiss. Inside was Dock Station Delta, Earth's greatest secret. Hundreds of ships rested inside the giant hollowed-out chamber. The air smelled like fuel and metal. These ships were nothing like the ones people once used for travel or trade. These ships were built for war. Rhea stepped onto a raised platform. Below, workers moved between ships, checking weapons, engines, and shields. This was the fleet Earth had hidden from the galaxy. For 200 years they had trained in secret, building ships in deep space, and hidden docks like this one. Standing beside her, Major Elias Vance crossed his arms. "We've waited long enough. Time to show them who we are," he said. Rhea nodded, but stayed quiet. She knew what was at stake. Winning wouldn't be easy, but she also knew Earth was ready. Later in the strategy room, Earth's high command gathered again. Rhea stood at the front, pointing to the large map on the wall. It showed the Council's fleet drawing closer. "We have the ships," she began. "We have the shields, we have the weapons. But they have more ships, many more." General Harrow spoke first. "They could crush us by numbers alone." Dr. Myra Lane shook her head. "Not if we use our full strength," she said. "We have weapons they don't expect." She pressed a button. A diagram appeared, showing Earth's secret weapons. Plasma shields, strong enough to block their cannons. Gravity cannons, able to rip their ships apart. Stealth drones, unseen by their sensors. The room stirred. These weapons had never been tested in real battle. No one knew if they would work the way they hoped. Rhea raised her hand for silence. "We won't show everything at once," she said. "We fight smart. We draw them in, make them think we're weak. Then we strike when they least expect it." The leaders nodded slowly. It was risky, but it was their best chance. The next morning, a second message from the Council arrived. Chancellor Zorak appeared again. His cold eyes stared into the camera. "You have one more chance. Surrender now. You cannot win." Rhea watched the message with her officers. This time she replied. She stood tall and spoke clearly. "Earth does not belong to you. We will never bow." She sent the message. There was no going back now. The people of Earth were told the truth that day. Screens in every underground city lit up. Rhea appeared before them. She explained what was coming. At first, there was fear. Some cried. Some asked why they hadn't been told before. But Rhea promised them that Earth would stand. "Trust us," she said. "We have prepared for this day. You are not alone." As night fell, Earth's defense systems powered up. Energy shields rose around the planet. Stealth ships launched into orbit. Crews boarded the warships, ready for battle. In the dark high above, the Council's fleet kept coming. Rhea stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Elysium. She watched the stars, knowing the enemy was out there. The final battle had not begun yet. But Earth had made its choice. It would fight. The Galactic Council's fleet had crossed the outer edge of Earth's star system. Hundreds of warships now floated in silent formation, blocking the stars like a dark wall. The lead ship stood at the center. It was larger than the others, shaped like a black dagger pointed at Earth. It was called the Dominion. Inside the Dominion, Chancellor Zorak stood before his commanders. His tall, thin body was wrapped in silver and black robes. His pale face showed no emotion. His voice was cold and sharp. "They still refuse to answer properly," one of his captains reported. Zorak turned to face the large screen showing Earth. His lips curled into a small smile. "Let them believe they have a choice," he said. "Then crush them." Far below in Earth's orbit, Rhea Solis stood on the bridge of her flagship, Elysium. Her crew worked around her. Everyone knew what was coming, but no one spoke it out loud. The silence was heavy. Elias Vance stepped beside her. "They're here, Rhea," he said. "The Dominion is leading them." "I know," she replied, her voice steady. She had expected this. Rhea walked to the front of the bridge. She pressed the command button. A channel opened between Earth and the Dominion. Chancellor Zorak's image appeared on the screen. He stood tall, his eyes full of pride. The air around him seemed colder than space itself. "This is your final warning," Zorak said. "Surrender. Accept the rule of the Galactic Council. You are nothing but a forgotten world. You have no future without us." His words hung in the air. Rhea stood still. She did not blink. She did not move. Then she spoke. "We are not nothing," she said. "And we are not yours." Zorak laughed softly. "We have taken stronger worlds than yours. You cannot win." Rhea stepped closer to the camera. "Try us." She ended the transmission. Zorak turned to his commanders on the Dominion. "Prepare to strike. Send a warning shot. Let them taste our power." Minutes later, Earth's satellites detected energy spikes. The Dominion's main cannon was charging. A bright beam of light shot toward Earth's orbit. It wasn't aimed at the planet itself, but at the outer defense satellites. In a flash, dozens of Earth's eyes in space were gone. The screens on the Elysium flickered as contact with the satellites was lost. "They've made their move," Elias said. Rhea's jaw tightened. "Prepare to launch the fleet," she ordered. "Quiet mode only. No full power yet. Let them come closer." Deep under Earth's surface, alarms echoed through the cities. People moved quickly to the safe zones. Emergency lights lit the tunnels in red. Rhea's earlier message had prepared them, but now the fear was real. On the Elysium, Rhea watched as Earth's stealth ships left their hidden docks. Dozens of black ships moved silently into space. Their engines made no sound. They gave off no signals. To the Council they were invisible. On the Dominion, Surak stood over his captains. "Scan for any response," he ordered. A young officer turned to him, confused. "Sir, nothing. No ships, no weapons. It looks like they've given up." Surak smiled again. He believed Earth had accepted defeat without a fight. "Move the fleet forward. Bring us closer. We'll finish this quickly." Back on the Elysium, Rhea heard the report. "The Dominion is moving in, Captain. They think we're broken." Rhea's lips pressed into a thin line. "Play good," she whispered. "Let them come." She turned to her crew. "We will not strike yet. We wait until they are in range. Make them believe we are afraid." The crew nodded. They trusted her. They knew the plan. Skid. The silent dance continued in the dark space above Earth. Tsk. The Council came closer, their ships filling the sky. They thought Earth was weak. They were wrong. The enemy kept coming. The Galactic Council's fleet moved deeper into Earth's space, filling the dark sky with their massive warships. From the ground, people in the underground cities could feel faint rumbling, even though they were deep below. It was like the air itself knew something terrible was about to happen. Captain Rhea Solis stood on the Elysium's bridge, her hands resting on the edge of the control panel. She could see the Dominion on the main screen. It was much larger now. It was close, too close. Elias Vance stood beside her, waiting for her order. Rhea's voice was calm but firm. "Sold. Furset forward and hold position. No weapons, no shields, make them believe we're frozen." Her crew obeyed without question. On the screens, Earth's fleet seemed to drift in silence, powerless and weak. That's what Rhea wanted the Council to believe. On board the Dominion, Chancellor Surak watched closely. His captains stood by, ready to fire. "They are afraid," one of them said. "No movement, no defense." Surak leaned back in his chair, smiling again. "Send the next wave. Damage their outer defenses. Show them their place." Without warning, the Council's frontline warships opened fire. Blinding beams of energy shot toward Earth's outer defense towers. The towers shook and exploded one by one. The ground above cracked. Dust filled the sky. In the underground cities, families huddled together in fear. The ground shook above them like distant thunder. People whispered prayers. Some cried. Some stood in silence. Everyone waited for what would happen next. On the Elysium, the officers watched as Earth's outer defenses fell. Elias looked at Rhea. "We can't hold forever, Rhea." Rhea nodded slowly. She had waited long enough. She pressed the ship-wide command button. "All units, activate shields. Prepare for full power." Across Earth's orbit, every hidden warship came to life at once. Plasma shields lit up like blue walls around each ship. Stealth drones uncloaked, hundreds of them surrounding the enemy's lead ships. Earth's fleet wasn't weak. It had been hiding, waiting for this exact moment. On the Dominion, alarms sounded. "Earth's ships have activated. They're everywhere," one of Surak's officers shouted. Surak stood up, furious. "Destroy them. Destroy them all." The battle began. Earth's fleet moved fast. Stealth drones swarmed the Council's ships, striking from all sides. Earth's gravity cannons fired beams that bent space itself, pulling enemy ships into crushing force fields. Council ships exploded in bright flashes, one after another. The Dominion's fleet fought back, blasting Earth's drones and ships with heavy fire. The dark sky burned with light. Explosions filled the space above Earth like falling stars. On the Elysium, Rhea gave sharp orders. Keep the shield up. Focus fire on the left flank. Push them back. Her crew worked fast. They had trained for this day. They knew their captain's plan. Elias pointed to the screen. They're sending bombers toward the planet. Rhea's heart tightened. Not this time. She turned to the weapons officer. Release the orbital mines. Cut them off. All across Earth's orbit, hidden mines exploded in the path of the Council's bombers. The ships were ripped apart before they could get close to the planet. Bright flashes lit the sky as metal burned and broke into pieces. On the Dominion, Sorak clenched his fists. This is impossible, he growled. They are only a small world. But the truth was clear. Earth was fighting back harder than he expected. Rhea stood tall on the bridge. Push forward. Keep them away from the planet. We make our stand here. The battle raged on, filling space with fire and destruction. Earth's fleet fought with everything they had. They couldn't stop now. They wouldn't stop now. High above, the sky burned. The dark space above Earth had become a war zone. Broken ships floated like silent wrecks. Fire and smoke filled the stars. Bright energy beams crossed the black sky like lightning. Both sides had taken heavy losses, but Earth was still standing. Captain Rhea Solis stood on the bridge of the Elysium, watching the battle unfold. Her crew worked fast, shouting reports as the fight grew more intense. Left flank holding, enemy bombers destroyed. Shield power at 70%. Rhea nodded. Hold the line, she said. Her voice steady. She looked at the main screen. The Dominion was still there, moving closer. Its guns were bigger, its armor stronger. It had barely taken damage. Rhea knew the real fight was just beginning. Inside the Dominion, Chancellor Sorak stood by the viewing window, his face tight with anger. His fleet had lost more ships than he had planned. Earth had surprised him, but he was not finished. Bring in the destroyers, he ordered. From deep space, a second wave of ships appeared. These were the Council's largest warships. Dark and heavy, they carried powerful plasma cannons, designed to level entire planets. Jorik leaned forward, his cold voice filling the command center. Enough games, burn their cities to the ground. The destroyers moved into position. Their cannons started charging. The energy beams glowed brighter and brighter. The target was not Earth's fleet. It was Earth itself. Rhea's heart sank as she saw the new threat on the screen. They're going to fire on the planet, Elias whispered, his face pale. Rhea took a deep breath. She had one last move to make. Ready the orbital cannon, she ordered. The crew froze for a second. The orbital cannon was Earth's deadliest weapon. It had never been used before. It could tear a ship in half with a single shot. But it was risky. It needed time to charge, and it left the ship unprotected while firing. Elias turned to her. If we miss, they'll hit the planet. Rhea nodded. We won't miss. Deep inside the Elysium, giant power cells lit up as the orbital cannon came to life. The ship shook as the cannon drew energy from the core. Lights flickered on the bridge. The crew worked fast, locking onto the Dominion. On the screen, the Dominion's cannons were fully charged. They aimed straight at Earth. Jorik smiled as he prepared to give the order to fire. But before he could speak, a bright light flashed from the Elysium. A single massive energy beam shot across space. The orbital cannon hit the Dominion head-on. The enemy flagship shook violently. Explosions ripped through its hull. Fires broke out across its engines. The Dominion began to drift, turning slowly as systems failed. Panic filled the Council's command center. Jorik fell to his knees, gripping the edge of his chair. No, it cannot be, he hissed. On the Elysium, the crew cheered, but Rhea raised her hand. Not yet, she said. We're not done. She opened the communication line to the Council fleet. Her face appeared on every screen, on every enemy ship. "This is Captain Rhea Solis of Earth," she said clearly. "We are not yours. We never were. If you want to take this world, come and try again. But know this, we will never bow." She ended the transmission. On the Dominion, Zorik stood slowly. His face was twisted with rage, but he knew the truth. His flagship was damaged. His fleet was broken. Earth had won for now. Rhea turned to her crew. "Hold position," she ordered. "Watch them. They might retreat, or they might come again." The Council's fleet started pulling back, ships turning away from Earth. One by one, they disappeared into deep space. Elias stood beside Rhea, his voice soft. "They're leaving." Rhea watched the empty space on the screen. Her hands tightened into fists. "They'll be back," she whispered. "But so will we." The battle had ended. Earth had stood its ground. But the war for their future had only just begun. The wreckage of war drifted silently above Earth. Both sides had lost many ships. Fires still burned on broken hulls. Some ships floated without power. Some exploded quietly, their lights fading into darkness. But Earth had survived. Captain Rhea Solis stood on the bridge of the Elysium. Her crew watched the main screen as the Galactic Council's fleet slowly retreated. The Dominion, their largest ship, was damaged and falling behind. Its engines sparked and smoked as it struggled to move. Rhea knew this was her moment. If the Dominion escaped, the Council would return stronger. If she finished it now, Earth would send a message the galaxy would never forget. Elias Vance stood at her side. "They're pulling back, Rhea. We could let them go." Rhea didn't answer right away. She stared at the image of the Dominion. So many lives had already been lost on both sides. But she knew letting the Dominion escape would only invite more death later. "No," she said firmly. "We end this now." Rhea opened a secure line to Earth's High Command. General Harrow and Dr. Lane appeared on her screen. "The Dominion is damaged," Rhea told them. "This is our chance to finish it." General Harrow frowned. "They might surrender. We could open talks." Dr. Lane shook her head. "Ixorik will never surrender. He'll only return stronger." Rhea nodded. "I won't risk Earth's future. I need your approval." General Harrow looked down for a moment, thinking. Finally he spoke. "You have it. End this." Rhea turned to her weapons officer. "Target the Dominion's power core. Prepare the orbital cannon for one last shot." The crew worked fast. Power cells charged again. Lights flickered as energy built up inside the ship. The Elysium shook under the force of the cannon. Powering up, on the Dominion. Chancellor Sorik struggled to stay on his feet. His officers shouted reports of failing systems. He could see Earth's fleet holding position, aiming at them. He knew what was coming. With a bitter smile, he stood tall and spoke to his crew. "Let them fire," he said coldly. "Let them believe this is the end. The Council never forgets. We will return." Back on the Elysium, Rhea gave the final order. "Fire." The orbital cannon lit the sky one last time. A powerful beam of energy tore through space and hit the Dominion's core. For a moment the massive ship stood still. Then in a flash of light it broke apart. Pieces of metal, fire and debris spread across the stars. The Dominion was gone. The Council's remaining ships scattered. Without their leader, they had no reason to stay. One by one, they jumped into hyperspace, leaving Earth's orbit empty and silent. On the Elysium's bridge, the crew stood quietly. No one cheered. No one spoke. They had won, but they all knew what they had done. "Step her straighter." Rhea looked at her crew. "Stand down," she said softly. "Spower down weapons. Begin search and rescue. Find our people." Back on Earth, the news spread through the underground cities. People gathered around screens, waiting for word. When Rhea's face appeared, they listened in silence. She spoke clearly and carefully. "The battle is over. Earth stands free. But this is not the end. We must stay ready. We have shown the galaxy that Earth will never bow." Families hugged each other. Some wept, some smiled. For the first time in a long time, hope returned to Earth. At that night, Rhea stood outside the command center. She looked up through the glass ceiling at the stars. The Dominion was gone. The Council had retreated. But she knew the war was far from over. Still, tonight Earth had won its freedom. She let out a slow breath. "We're ready for whatever comes next," she whispered. And deep in the stars, somewhere far away, the Council was already planning their return. 3 weeks had passed since the great battle above Earth. The sky was quiet again. The wreckage from the Council's fleet still floated in orbit. Earth's ships worked day and night to clear the debris. Small shuttles carried parts back to the surface. Others searched for survivors from both sides. The underground cities of Earth had returned to life. Shops reopened, schools continued, but nothing felt the same. Everyone knew the truth now. Earth was no longer alone in the galaxy. Captain Rhea Solis stood in Earth's High Command Hall. Leaders from every region of Earth had gathered. The room was filled with the sound of quiet voices. Rhea waited until everyone had taken their seat. General Harrow stood to speak first. "Earth stood strong. We forced the Council to retreat. But they will return one day. We all know that." Rhea nodded. She stepped forward. "Earth cannot hide anymore," she said. "The galaxy knows we are here. We have a choice now. We can go back into the dark, or we can step forward." The room fell silent. Everyone waited for what she would say next. Rhea took a deep breath. "I say we step forward. I say we let the galaxy hear our voice." Later that day, Rhea sent a new message. But this time it was not just for the Council. It was for every world in the galaxy. Her face appeared on every open channel, in every corner of known space. "This is Captain Rhea Solis of Earth. We have stood against the Galactic Council. We have paid the price for our freedom. We do not seek war, but we will not bow to anyone. To those who live under fear, you are not alone. To those who believe they have no choice, you do. Earth stands free, and we are ready to stand with all who seek the same." The message spread fast. Across distant planets, people watched in silence. Some felt hope, some felt fear, but none could ignore Earth's voice. That night, Rhea returned to the surface. She stood alone on the old cracked ground. Above her the stars stretched far and wide. For the first time in her life, she did not feel small beneath them. She knew Earth's path would be hard. She knew the Council would one day return. But she also knew that humanity had found its place in the galaxy. Not as servants, not as prey, but as equals. Rhea smiled softly. "We're just getting started," she whispered. And so, under the silent stars, the people of Earth began a new chapter. Not as the last to join the galaxy, but as the first to stand free.